you these words. These words, chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek, we say when we finish a book of Torah. And on this Shabbat, we are ending the fourth book of Torah, the book of Numbers, before we begin the final book, the book of Deuteronomy. And so we say these words, strength, strength, let us be strengthened, let us strengthen each other. So I want you to say these words after me, chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. And then we're going to sing them like this. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. Let's try that together. Ready? Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. And I'm going to go back to the beginning with this be strong part. Ready? Here we go. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Be strong, let us celebrate our lives. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Chazak, 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 v'nit chazek. Be strong together one more time. Here we go. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Be strong, let us celebrate our lives. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Chazak, 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 v'nit chazek.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is a joy to be with you celebrating Shabbat in this space that can give us strength. Some of us are coming here because we are needing some strength, because we have burdens that we need to unload. Others of us are coming because we have joys to celebrate, and we are going to share some strength with each other. And hopefully over the course of this service, we will all leave a little bit having strengthened each other. And so if you are joining us online, we are thrilled to be celebrating with you. Don't forget to introduce yourselves in the chat so we know who is celebrating with us. And we are thrilled to have you all here in person in the Barish Sanctuary as well. Speaking of things to celebrate, for the lighting of the candles this Shabbat, we are going to invite up Roseanne and Howard Rubin and 3 of their grandchildren, Jonah and Eli and Jeffrey, who are going to lead us in the lighting of the candles on page 3. I will tell you a little bit more about the amazing anniversary that they are celebrating in just a minute. Just one? You got one? One's enough. If you got one grandchild to light candles, you're good. All right.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us.
As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our day, be among those who kindle light. Technical
You're doing such a good job.
The candle's so nice, we lit it twice.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat Shalom. And we begin to welcome Shabbat with psalms. And so from Psalm 96, these words, Shir Chadash, a new song. continue that welcoming with the words of Lecha Dodi, which can be found on page 20. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, Penei Penei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, Penei Penei Shabbat Nekabela. La la, Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, Penei Penei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, Penei Penei Shabbat Nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmiyanu el hameyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'riti la 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 la, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, Penei Penei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, Penei Penei Shabbat Nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor ha'beracha, merosh v'kedem mesucha, sof ha'aseh b'machshava tchila. La 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 la, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, Penei Penei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, Penei Penei Shabbat Nekabela. Verse 5. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki va'orech u'miori, uri uri shedaberi, kevod Adonai alaich nigla. La 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 la, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, Penei Penei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, Penei Penei Shabbat Nekabela. And now we rise and face the entrance as we welcome in the Shabbat bride. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam b'simcha u'b'tzola, toch emunei am segola. Boi chala, boi chala, la 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 la, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, Penei Penei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, Penei Penei Shabbat Nekabela. Penei Penei Shabbat Nekabela. Penei Penei Shabbat Nekabela.
We are going to remain standing for Baruch Hu, but while you're standing, turn to the people around you, introduce yourself if you don't know them, and wish them a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Let's say the page.
Page 28, Baruch Hu.
Ya la la, la 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 la. Ya la la, la la la. Ya la la, la la la. Ya la la, la la la. Baruch Hu et Adonai. Baruch Adonai Hamborach, Le'olam Vaed, Le'olam, 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 Le'olam. with our prayer for the evening. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll.
We turn to page 33. Pray with me, starting in the middle of the page. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated. Ve'ahavta, page 36.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha, vedibarta bam, beshivtecha bevetecha, ulechtecha vaderech, uvshochbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, vehayu letotafot beinenecha, Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kidoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
Page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, and that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Mi Chamocha, page 40.
Mi chamocha va'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar v'kodesh. Nora tehilot osei pele, nora tehilot מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקעי הים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד. יאי לי 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 And so we take a moment now to really think about Shabbat and how it is this connection between us and God. Each week we get to this moment, to this time to pause. And so we think about these words, Vishamru. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. It is a sign between me and you. It is a sign to carry us through. It is a sign between me and you. It is a sign to carry us through. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. In 6 days God made heaven and earth. In 6 days God made. In 6 days God made heaven and earth. On the seventh day, on the seventh day, God was refreshed. God was restored. Let us all be refreshed. Let us all be restored. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat.
We continue with the Amidah, which begins on page 46. Please rise as you are able.
Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. Miracle is one of those words that we overuse without really thinking about its meaning. Miracle, like words like amazing or awesome, we say a lot in everyday speech. Like, I got here on time, it was a miracle, right? Or like, did you see that movie? It was awesome, right? As opposed to thinking about awesome means like something that inspires in us awe, an awareness of the grandeur of the universe. Amazing is something that inspires in us amazement. A miracle is something that God created. And there is this blessing on page 58, the Modim prayer, our prayer that is about gratitude, which is about training us to notice miracles. And it doesn't only mean the big miracles that are transformative, it also means the small miracles. That I got here on time may well have been a miracle. That as dangerous as car travel is, I made it here, that is, in truth, a miracle. And so I want to share with you an alternative version of this prayer, which is a poem by Walt Whitman called Miracles, which is about appreciating miracles that happen every day and living in what Abraham Joshua Heschel described as a state of radical amazement, of amazement at all of those miracles as they happen. So this is Miracles by Walt Whitman. Who makes much of a miracle? As to me, I know nothing else but miracles, whether I am walking the streets of Manhattan or dart my sights over the roofs of houses towards the sky, or wade with naked feet along the beach just in the edge of the water, or stand under trees in the woods, or talk by day with anyone I love, or sleep in the bed at night with anyone I love, or sit at the table at dinner with the rest, or look at strangers opposite me riding in the car, or watch honeybees busy around the hive of a summer forenoon, or animals feeding in the fields, or birds, or the wonderfulness of insects in the air, or the wonderfulness of the sundown, or of stars shining so quiet and bright, or the exquisite, delicate, thin curve of the new moon in spring. These, with the rest, one and all, are to me miracles, the whole referring, yet each distinct and in its place. To me, every hour of the light and dark is a miracle. Every cubic inch of space is a miracle. Every square yard of the surface of the earth is spread with the same. Every foot of the interior swarms with the same. To me, the sea is a continual miracle. The fishes that swim, the rocks, the motion of waves, the ships with the men in them. What stranger miracles are there? Baruch atah Adonai hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. We offer now a prayer for peace, on page 60, Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata Melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech Damacha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
We take a few moments now for silent prayer and noticing the many miracles that happen to us each day.
Say shalom, shalom bimromav. Uyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav. Uyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Uyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav. Uyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Ve'al kol Yisrael amen.
We turn our prayers now to those in our lives and in our community who are in need of healing and wholeness and strength. We think not only of people whose pains and illnesses we see and know about, but also all of the pains and illnesses we can never see and never know. We think about those who are struggling with chronic pain and chronic illness, those who are struggling with addiction and those who are in recovery. We think of all the caretakers who are committed each and every day to making sure those people find the strength they need. And for all of them, we offer prayers of healing and hope. We're thinking this Shabbat of Sarah Astrich and Elaine Betcher, Marcia Block, Ed Brook, Terry Brook, Melba Berman, Eileen Sersansky, Marie Cordova, Maya Creeder, Richard Dana, Barbara Fenton, Leon Finkelstein, Carol Friedman, Marcine S. Goldman, Aaron Goodman, Chuck Green, Christina Howard, Cam Hunter, Richard Jackson, Sarah James, Lawrence Levy, Betsy Lewis, Bev Saltzman-Lewin, Magdalene Pessin, Leah Rabelais, Hattie Reese, Joel Ruby, Shirley Schnoll, Alan Selbst, Edward Simmons, Jerry Spencer, Lenny Weinberg, Yvonne Zients, Ariella Sharon, Bat Yafa Shoshana, David Ben Chana, Gelka Nechama Bat Leba Chaya, Yehoshua Matityahu, Ben Yaakov Vipre Vachana, and Zahava Bat Miriam Vishnir Salman, and all who are suffering with afflictions of body, mind, and spirit. We offer these words of healing and hope which can be found on the screens.
מי שברך אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב. מי שברך אמותינו, שרה, רבקה, לאה ורחל. May the one who blessed our mothers, our fathers, hear our prayer, 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 and bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. Be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Bless us with a vision for tomorrow. Help us to reach out to those in pain. May the warmth of friendship ease our sorrow. Give us courage, give us faith, show us the way. Mi sheberach avoteinu, mi sheberach imotenu. Hear our prayer, 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 and bless us as well. Hear our prayer, 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 and bless us as well.
We have something very joyful to celebrate, as many of you who are here in the room know. So I'm going to invite Roseanne and Howard Rubin to stand up. They are today, this very day, correct? Tomorrow. All right, we'll count it. They are tomorrow celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. And we can clap for that, I think. That's a big enough accomplishment. And I think how they are choosing to celebrate it is a testament to who they are, that they are choosing to celebrate it surrounded by family and friends, that they are choosing to celebrate it here in a synagogue that means so much to them, that they are choosing to celebrate it with blessings in the hope that there can be very many more blessings in the years to come. And their children also wanted to make sure that they had a very family-appropriate way to celebrate. So Alyssa and Stacy and Mark sent me words that I have to share on their behalf because they are a family that loves to rhyme. And so here is what I have been told to say. It was 50 years ago today that Roseanne and Howard joined in marriage, come what may. It all began with a fateful blind date. His baby blue eyes made it love at first sight. From Galveston to Dallas, then Houston was home. 2 daughters and a son brought both chaos and shalom. Respected professionals, physician and teacher, plus loyal friends and community leaders. Now grandparents of 5 boys and multiple pets. For 50 years of marriage, it's as good as it gets. It's often said, you reap what you sow. May their beautiful garden continue to grow. Mazel tov on 50 years. May you be blessed with only simchas and happiness for many more anniversaries. I have very little I can add to that, except to say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehachianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Mazel tov. I'm just making things hard for the camera guys. All right. Following services this evening, we hope that you will proceed to the Oshman Multipurpose Room for an oneg sponsored by the Rubin family in honor of this milestone of their anniversary. Next Saturday, August 6th, is our next Shmooze and Schmear, which is a bagel breakfast that follows the 10:30 a.m. Shabbat morning chapel service. No reservations necessary. We hope you will come and pray and then eat and schmooze. We are also looking for volunteers to help usher for the High Holy Days this year. You may not be thinking about the High Holy Days, but we are. We really do need your help to make this a welcoming and safe place for everyone. If you would like to help make the holidays special for our members, please sign up on our website and you'll be contacted for the brief but important training session. And we hope you'll continue to visit the website for information about all our exciting upcoming programs this summer. I was recently at the Western Wall in Jerusalem with our temple's teens on the Shirley Barish Memorial Israel Experience. The wall is a place we build up in our imaginations. It is the most distinctive symbol of Jewish life in Israel. We bring our prayers there and fold them up and tuck them in the cracks because we are told that it is a uniquely holy place. Many people arrive at the wall for the first time and feel a sense of awe and divinity. And some don't. I remember the first time I visited Israel trying to make myself cry at the wall because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. I feigned the expression of that feeling of awe, but I never felt it. I find the Western Wall challenging because when I'm there, I'm aware of 3 simultaneous and conflicting narratives. It's like 3 songs are being played at once, and I lack the ability to tune out 2 of them so that I can enjoy the third. The first beautiful melody is the wall itself, our only remaining physical connection to the ancient temple. It's the closest a Jew can be to pray where their ancestors did at the temple. The stones of the wall have been worn smooth by hands of all the generations of Jews who have made pilgrimage to that place. That is a powerful melody if you can tune into it. But for me, the other 2 melodies at the wall are just as loud. One is the presence of Muslim holy sites just above me. I can quite literally hear the Muslim call to prayer from the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, 2 of the holiest sites in Islam. If I look to my right, I see the wooden ramp built for Muslims to go up and pray. And I see the imposing number of security personnel and metal detectors required to keep the peace in a land where religious sites are literally built on top of each other. I try to pray, but I have a hard time tuning out the presence of those necessary security guards. And the third melody that is playing is the sounds of Orthodox Judaism. The wall is essentially an Orthodox synagogue. The complex is bisected by a mechitza, the barrier in an Orthodox synagogue that separates men from women. I have, of course, never been in the much smaller women's section. But in the men's section, Haredi men with beards and black coats run feverishly, handing out Orthodox prayer books and moving chairs. I am greeted by Chabad emissaries who offer me the prayer garb of Orthodox men, talitot and tefillin. That is some people's practice, but it's not mine. I dislike praying in non-egalitarian spaces. The mechitza makes me feel further from God. And certainly for our non-binary participants on the trip, the choice between those two and only two options of a men's and a women's section presents a distinct and difficult challenge. So this is also a melody that is playing in my head as I'm trying to pray at the Western Wall, the awareness of the grip that the most extreme and Orthodox voices in Israel hold, not just on this space, but on many aspects of Jewish life in the Jewish homeland. There have been numerous attempts to build a third co-equal space for egalitarian and liberal Jewish prayer at the Wall, but they have been met with resistance, and each time that a deal has been reached, some setback occurs and no such space ever gets built. For now, we exit the Western Wall complex and enter into the archaeological excavation next door, walking to an area called Robinson's Arch, set aside for Jews like us. It is smaller and inferior to the rest of the complex above. The platform stands at a distance from the wall itself, and we would have to take a narrow bridge to touch it. While we were there, the gate to that bridge was closed and locked. So this is the tension that I feel at the Wall for my personal identity as a Jew. And it's also the tension I feel as an educator for the next generation of Jews. How am I supposed to expose them to all of these songs without letting the cacophony overwhelm them? I want our teens to develop a love for Israel, but that love must be built on an honest foundation if it is to last. And that means exposing them to Israel's complexity. But as I show them that complexity, I risk overwhelming them. And if I overwhelm them too much, I fear some of them might just walk away from the whole project. How can I be honest in a way that invites them in and does not push them away? This was the topic of our discussion when we sat together with the Barish group at Robinson Arch, and I tried to help the teens listen to each melody in turn and to process what they were hearing and feeling. We had come there so that they might fall in love with Yerushalayim Shel Zahav, the Jerusalem of gold, but we are also aware that gold is sometimes in need of a serious polish. How do we expose the teens to the complexity of this story without making them want to write themselves out of it? We stood at that subpar egalitarian section of the wall just a week and a half before a particularly disturbing incident where a conservative Jewish group not so different from ours had come to celebrate a bar mitzvah and was violently harassed. Videos show Haredi men and boys yelling and cursing the guests, spitting on them and tearing pages from their prayer books. This conservative family had come to the area designated for these kinds of services, but the security forces failed to stop these young men from sending the message that any egalitarian prayer at the wall was more than they would tolerate. They feel our Judaism is a desecration. They wish to write all liberal Jews out of the Jewish story for fear that our proud Judaism puts theirs in peril. This question about whether we can write ourselves out of the Jewish story or whether anyone else gets to do it for us plays out in this week's Torah portion as well. The Israelites have reached the banks of the Jordan River, and elderly Moses gives his final instructions for the battles that will come after his death when the people begin to conquer the land. He is approached by the leaders of the tribes of Gad and Reuven. We have many cattle, they say. And this area where we currently stand is excellent for cattle herding. Please let us remain here when you all cross over into the land of Israel. Now Moses is furious. He assumes that the Gadites and the Reubenites want to sit out the battles ahead. Moses shouts, "Are your brothers to go to war while you stay here?" He calls them a breed of sinful men and compares them to all the other rebels who have challenged Moses in the desert. He says, if you turn away from your people, you will bring calamity to us all. But the Gadites and the Reubenites clarify that they have no intention of abandoning their brethren in battle. They say, we will build here sheepfolds for our flocks and towns for our children, but then we will hasten as shock troops in the battles to come. We will not return home until the Israelites, every one of them, is in possession of their portion in the promised land. They offer not only to participate in the battle, but to be shock troops, fighting on the front lines for their fellow Jews. And this appeases God and Moses, who grant the Gadites and the Reubenites their request. Moses assumes that these tribes want to write themselves out of the story. He perceives them as separating themselves from their people and trying to uncouple their fates. It is only when the Gadites and the Reubenites assure him that not only are they staying in the story, they want to be one of its most passionate authors, that Moses sees how wrong he was. 15th century commentator Isaac Arama says that Moses owes the tribes an apology for his lack of faith in them. To Arama, Moses' sin is failing to trust that these people are deeply committed to the story. We fail the Jewish people when we write ourselves out of the story, when we separate our fate from theirs, and leaders fail the Jewish people when they write off Jews, when they kick them out of the story. My fear is that our teens will encounter the complexities of Israel and be so turned off that they write themselves out of the Jewish story. These fears are not unfounded. There's been a lot of talk in the Jewish press lately about Jews who identify as anti-Zionist or non-Zionist, Jews who don't think that there should be a Jewish state at all. Many have come to this conclusion after a period of disillusionment with the state of Israel. They believe the Jewish state is beyond repair, that the tarnish can never be fully removed. Now, I think there is a need for passionate discussion about Israel's many failings. Failing to live up to the Jewish values and ideals it espouses, failings towards its Jewish citizens, failings towards its non-Jewish citizens, and to the people in the territories it occupies. I am troubled by many of these failings, especially when I visit Israel, and I pray and I fight for the day when Israel does better. But I worry about these anti-Zionists who do not engage with this complexity at all. They wave their hands and try and wish it away. They do not want to have anything to do with the 7 million Jews who call Israel their home and who would be in imminent danger if Israel ceased to exist. They want to write themselves out of that story. And I am also concerned about influential leaders and organizations in Jewish life who seek to write thoughtful, primarily young Jews out of the Jewish story. Many young Jews are not writing themselves out, but engaging with the immense complexities that Israel presents. They don't just want to be a part of the story, they want to help write the next chapter, like Gad and Reuben's shock troops. We have no more right to write them off than Moses had to write off Gad and Reuben. We have no more right to write them off than Haredi Jews who harass women at the wall for reading Torah. We must not let young Jews write themselves out of the story, but nor may we write them out ourselves. We must instead welcome them into complexity, welcome them into the kind of love that is unconditional but also uncompromising. We must welcome them into a story with many strands and many conflicting viewpoints. We must welcome them into a community that values questions and criticism. I think that the great power of the Shirley Barish Memorial Israel experience is that we walk this tightrope better than, I'd say, most teen trips. The challenge is making sure that the communities our teens come back to here and when they leave this nest are as open to their exploration as they deepen their connection to the Jewish story, even if their chapters look different than the ones we wrote. This week we finish the book of Numbers. Whenever we finish a book, we say, Chazak, Chazak v'nit chazek, be strong, and we will strengthen each other. We find strength not alone, but from each other. We find strength when diverse viewpoints are valued and respected. May we all find ourselves drawn ever more deeply into this Jewish story, and may that continue to be our strength. Shabbat Shalom.
We have come from near and far to raise our voice in song. And the more we join in the refrain, the more we feel strong. Chazak, Chazak, Venit Chazek. There is a power in this place and time. It shapes the rest of our lives. For when we return each year, we find a truth we can't deny. And I hope you'll join me on this part we sang earlier. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Be strong, let us celebrate our lives. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Chazak, Chazak, Venit Chazek. Chazak, Chazak, Venit Chazek. As we sing, we link ourselves to those who came before. And we're one with all those yet to come. Our strength, it will endure. All together. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Be strong, let us celebrate our lives. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Chazak, Chazak, Venit Chazek.
We turn to page 282 for Aleinu L'Shabeach. Please rise as you are able.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 287. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, life and death. We take a few moments for silent memory. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. Our hearts go out in sympathy to the families of Frank Yellen and Bradley Borden, who were laid to rest in recent days. We also recall the yard sites, the anniversaries of the death of Jan Amundsen, Bella Arendt, Sarah Leah Ash, Minnie Asia, Gwendolyn Bauman, Max Becker, Dorothy Bernstein, Isaac Bettish, Mark Joel Birnbaum, Clara Blyden, David Blonstein, Sarah Blonstein, J.R. Blumrosen, Francis G. Bondi, Ellen Brochstein, John Brush, Sadie Kaplowitz, Abe Daly, Natalia Dmitrieva, Judith Dorlick, Irene C. Dorr, Minnie Duval, Rhoda Dubois Engbrock, Noel Eppelbaum, Abe K. Fish, Harvey Friedman, Betty Friedman, Jake Gandler, Jean Gelber, Joseph Gelber, Samuel Gelfond, Morton Gordon, Calman Gordon, Curtis Graves, Jack Greenfeld, George Haken, Rose Hamovit, Hyman Hart, Lorenzo Hartfield, Theodore Hartman, Helen Simpson Ha, Phil Randall Jackson, Lottie Joseph, Sam Kamen, Catherine Kaplan, Sylvan Karchmer, Sylvia Bruckner Kaufman, Harry Keeg, Vicki Kennedy, Eric Kleiman, Sidney Herschel Krakauer, Maurice Krinsky, Sonia Lewis Kronberg, Paul Lazovic, William N. Levine, Rose Levinson, Elaine Beth Lewis, Julius H. Lozer, Dolores Malone, Babe Matusoff, Minette Moore, Sidney G. Odell, Hyman Paley, Lillian Perstein, Nina Posner, Theo Posner, Al Rosenblum, Freddie Ablon Ross, Clarence Salmon, Gloria Vogel Samuels, Joseph Lewis Sandler, Rose Shaps, Bernard Schnitzer, Nathan A. Schwartz, Peter E. Schwartz, Henry Seinfeld, Samuel Jacobs Shapiro, Celia Shapiro, William F. Sheldon, Herman Siegel, Walter Singer, Hyman Leon Slom, Alan Mark Smith, Benjamin Sofer, Joseph Solomon, Golda Stolben, Mrs. Edith Skolnick, Martin Treistman, Carol Underwood, Sarah Vidal, Herschel Wayne Weinberg, Alan Wilner, Alvin Weissenberg, and Ed Wolf. We turn to page 294 and rise together as one community for the words of Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yirtei v'yamich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yamechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agalau v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam omer maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitchomam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shmei dikudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'ne'emata, tamiram be'ama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen.
Please be seated. We turn now to Kiddush, which is found on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu. B'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Ki banu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-shabbat l'chaim.
Chaim. As we prepare for Hamotzi, it's a good time to remind you that we do hope that you will join us for the Oneg in the Oshman Multipurpose Room immediately following services that has been sponsored by Roseanne and Howard's families in honor of their anniversary. And
the Motzi can be found on 302 if you need those words. Some people don't know it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
our closing song.
Go ahead.
Our closing song is on page 321 this evening.
And
Adon
we
Olam.
really need your help on this version of Adon Olam. Oh yes, I'm going to play the guitar.
We even need that help.
We need a little guitar too. Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yitzir Nivra, Li'ed Nasa,
Le'et Nasa,
V'chefzo Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol, Levado Yimloch Nora Adon Olam, Ve'hu Haya, Ve'hu Hoveh, Ve'hu Yeh B'tifara Adon Olam, Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yitzir Nivra, Li'ed Nasa,
Le'et Nasa,
וחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם והוא אחד ואין שני להמשילו להכבירה אדון עולם בלי ראשית בלי תכלית בלא העוז והמקרא אדון עולם אדון עולם
Adon Olam,
אשר מלך
Asher Malach,
בטרם כל
B'terem Kol,
יציר נברא לעת נשא וחפצו כל אזי מלך אדון עולם והוא אלי וחי גואלי וצרור חבי בעת צרה אדון עולם והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת קוצי ביום מקרא אדון עולם אדון עולם
Adon Olam,
אשר מלך
Asher Malach,
בטרם כל
B'terem Kol,
יציר נברא לעת נשא
Le'et Nasa,
וחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם בידו אף כיד רוחי בעת תשען והעירה אדון עולם ועם רוחי גבייתי אדוני לי ולא עירה אדון עולם אדון עולם
Adon Olam,
אשר מלך
Asher Malach,
בטרם כל
B'terem Kol,
יציר נברא לעת נשא
Le'et Nasa,
וחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם.
Please rise for the benediction. Source of our health and our strength, writer of this great story that we are in, we thank you that every page contains a miracle. We thank you that with each new chapter we find new strength, especially from each other. We thank you for the opportunity to write ourselves into this story and not out of this story, and to help others to do the same. We thank you for friends and family and the many blessings in our lives, and we say together, Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. And the many miracles.